music snobs everywhere always swear that they know every forgotten gem. But I guarantee you've never heard these. And even if one of these bands does ring a bell, then officially you're a music god. Let's be honest. Most of us who've lived through the 70s and 80s think we've heard it all. Zeppelin, check. Zappa, double check. Maybe even some obscure prog. But today, I'm going deeper once more into the musical shadows, where bands lived briefly, burned brightly, and then vanished. So remember, all of these bands have been selected by you guys out there. So let's start with a group whose name alone sounds like they should have been huge. May Blitz were a power trio that blended British heavy psych with North American muscle, and that blend wasn't by accident at all. They were formed in the UK, and the band featured Canadian guitarist and vocalist Jamie Black, alongside two British rhythm section powerhouses. Their 1970 self-titled debut was a stunner. This is heavy music with purpose, somewhere between early Sabbath, Cream, and the more cerebral moments of King Crimson. Tracks like Smoking the Day Away feel like stone sermons from a smoky basement gig.
Smoking the day.
They're gritty or predictable and surprisingly sophisticated. But what really sets May Blitz apart is the drumming. Tony Newman, who had previously played as Jeff Beck and later joined Three Man Army, is a controlled explosion behind the kit. There's jazzy fluidity in the chaos, and that interplay gives May Blitz a depth most heavy bands of the era lacked. They only recorded 2 albums. Their second, The 2nd of May, pushed into even stranger territory, and then they vanished. No big tours, no hit singles, but what they left behind was pure molten gold for lovers of proto-metal and progressive psych. Now, if you missed them the first time, you're not alone. And the next band is one for the real deep diggers. Pronounced Dżem, these are one of Poland's most respected and enduring blues rock bands, active since the late 70s and considered legends in their home countries. Yes, you heard that right. Poland with a blues scene that could put some American acts to shame. Now, what Dżem brings to the table is raw authenticity. Imagine, I don't know, early ZZ Top meeting Lynyrd Skynyrd in Eastern Europe, with the lead singer Ryszard Riedel, whose voice was as lived-in and world-weary as any you've heard. Now, their 1985 live album, Absolutely Live, is a masterclass in soulful, guitar-driven blues rock. Riedel tragically passed in the 90s after years of substance issues, but he added a layer of myth to his legacy, but the band has soldiered on and continues to tour. They didn't break into English-speaking markets, largely due to the language and geopolitical barriers, but make no mistake, musically they are every bit as worthy of international acclaim. Now, the next band is the definition of a one-and-done mystery. US 69 released a single album in 1969, Yesterday's Folks, and then vanished. But that album, it's a psychedelic soul-funk hybrid that deserves far more attention than it ever got. You hear echoes of Sly Stone, touches of psych rock, freakouts, and even jazz rock sensibilities. They've all been rolled into one densely layered experience. There's a sense that these guys were trying to make music that reflected the chaos and hope of the era. And somehow they pulled it off. There's mystery here too. Very little is known about the band's fate. Some say they simply couldn't survive the label politics. Others point to the genre-hopping sound as a hard sell for radio stations trying to categorize everything. But their one LP stands as a hidden treasure, especially for fans of Curtis Mayfield, Love and the Mothers of Invention. Now, named after the infamous budget wine popular with college students and hitchhikers in the 70s, Boone's Farm was a breezy West Coast rock band that released a self-titled album in 1972. and then faded into the Californian sunset. Now their sound, picture, I don't know, the Eagles without the cynicism, Poco without the twang, and a dash of early Doobie Brothers groove. It's laid back but crafted. It's the kind of album that spins best at golden hour with a beer in your hand. Now, If You Can't Be My Woman is an absolute standout. There's harmonies that hit just the right note and guitar work that's melodic without getting mushy. It's not revolutionary, but it's solid, honest American rock. Why did they break out? Hard to say. They had the sound, they had the hooks. Maybe they just missed the timing by a year or two. Or maybe they were just a little too mellow for the rock radio programmers looking for edgier acts. But still, if you love 70s soft rock with backbone, Boone's Farm is worth discovery. Now let's turn towards something a little bit more ethereal. Solstice are a progressive rock band from the UK and released their debut album Silent Dance in 1984, and it remains one of the most elegantly underappreciated albums in the genre. Now, while most prog bands leaned into complex time signatures and keyboard theatrics, Solstice aimed for emotion. Their blend of soaring female vocals, melodic guitar lines, and violin-led arrangements leave them stand apart. There's quite a spiritual calmness to Solstice. And it's not about showing off, no, it's about drawing you into the soundscape. If you've ever wondered what might have happened if Mike Oldfield and Renaissance had collaborated, then this is it. They arrived during the wrong musical era, though. 1984 was dominated by synths and neon, not gentle progressive elegance. But what they did is build a small loyal following and eventually reformed decades later. Now, if you missed them, Silent Dance is a place to start. An album that proves not all prog has to be pretentious. Grinlong is one of those bands that feels more like a rumour than a historical fact. What exists under this name is bold, unfiltered, and experimental. Their recordings blend minimalist synth textures. But this isn't background music at all. It demands your attention. It's confrontational. It's weirdly beautiful at times and completely off the grid, a pun funnily intended. Now, for the adventurous listener, Grinlog is a gold mine. Still in a playlist of underground obscurities, Grinlog earns its place. Now here's a band that should have been massive. Cactus were formed as a kind of American supergroup in 1969 with members from Vanilla Fudge and the Detroit Wheels. They were billed by some as the American Led Zeppelin, and in terms of raw power, they weren't far off. Now, their self-titled debut from 1970 is a scorcher. It's pure blues rock adrenaline, full of thundering riffs, blistering solos, and a singer in Rusty Day could growl like a wild dog. But Cactus never quite got the spotlight they deserved. Part of it was competition. Zeppelin, Sabbath, and Mountie were all eating up the airwaves in this area. Part of it was lineup instability. But the core material, absolute killer. Now, if you like your rock rough around the edges with a working class swagger and serious musical chops, then Cactus is essential listening. So there you have it. You've got 9 bands from heavy psych to icy art rock, from Warsaw to Wales. That proves just how much incredible music exists outside the spotlight. Music history isn't just written by the chart toppers. It's written by the cult heroes, the regional legends, the bands that perhaps only a few hundred people ever saw live, but who left a permanent mark on those who did. If even one of these bands is new to you, then I hope you found your next deep dive obsession. And if you knew them all, well, you just might well be that music god after all. Now let me know in the comments any more bands you think should be included in this series, and I'll look to make further episodes coming up. Check out the description box, if you will, where there's loads of additional information on these bands, as well as ways to help the channel, if you will. For now, though, on screen is a link to the first video in the series. It's here, and I want you to watch that one next, and I'll see you over there.